Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Savage, a Chinese thriller from 2018. Now I have reviewed a bunch of contemporary Chinese thrillers on this channel already, many of which are actually quite good. No Man's Land, The Looming Storm, Black Coal Thin Ice, and Chongqing Hot Pot are a few examples. So how does Savage kind of stack up against those? Let's find out here. So this film begins with a heist of an armored truck filled with gold. The three perpetrators are in the process of making their getaway when they are stopped by a police patrol. From that point on, the crooks, the cops, and some other town residents engage in some deadly confrontations. And to make matters worse, a blizzard rolls through the area. Now, unlike some of the other films that I've covered that are kind of dramatic thrillers, Savage is a thriller first and foremost, and in that aspect, it does succeed. I did enjoy the opening armored car heist. It is maybe a little bit unrealistic, and there is a little bit of dodgy CGI in it that's thrown in, but it is entertaining, and the film certainly takes itself seriously. Almost all of the thrills are kind of grounded in realism. I like the villain's plan for hiding the gold in snow and then coming back to retrieve it at a later time when the heat from the authorities kind of dies down a bit or gets less intense. The initial routine vehicle stop between the good and bad guys has some legitimate tension. And there are a few good little misdirections that are used by the characters to gain an advantage on one another. Most of the middle section of this film consists of very long standoffs and shootouts where the characters are kind of retreating or holding up in icy terrain. They're just trying to gain an advantageous position over one another. It's pretty well executed. It really is. I would not call this an adrenaline-pumping thrill ride by any means, but it's more of like a moderately paced suspense film, and it works. The snowy forest environments are a nice plus. It's a good flick to watch during the wintertime. This is set in desolate, snowy areas, and it's also mentioned early on that this town that this is set in was fairly active in the past, but the decline of the logging industry has led to a decrepit area and a has-been economy. And that combination of chilly weather and economic collapse is a neat combination for the visuals. There are some great aerial and wide shots of both the white natural environments and the abandoned civilizations. Pretty cool. The acting is very good from top to bottom. There's no complaints there. There are a few recognizable faces here. Chang Chen has been in a bunch of stuff, including Silk, The Assassin, and the Redcliffe films. And you may have seen Lao Fan in films such as Black Coal Thin Ice, Ash's Purest White, and Wild Goose Lake. So we have some legit actors in the lead roles here. The score is effective at ramping up the tension without being overly invasive. The story and the characters, though, they are pretty cliche in this. Even at near the beginning, we get a hostage situation involving a loose cannon cop. We've seen that a million times before. The lead protagonist can't forgive himself for a mistake he made in the past. And we've seen that a million times before. So the characterization in Savage it's definitely its weakest aspect, but there are still a few interesting elements at play. For example, there's a supporting character, an old man poacher, who is also a drunk, it seems. And as a viewer, you're not sure how this guy is going to get involved with this main conflict between the crooks, the cops, and the gold. I kind of like X Factor characters in films. Characters that are not necessarily good guys, but not necessarily bad guys, and you're wondering what are they going to do? You know what I mean? And he serves that function here, which I appreciate. But still, if you choose to watch this film, you got to go into it expecting a more conventional and simplistic portrayal of its characters. But overall, I enjoyed Savage. I did. It lacks the dramatic depth of some of the best Chinese thrillers of the past decade, but it does entertain, and I found it quite thrilling, actually. It's currently available on Amazon streaming as well as physical media. And as always, we will see you next time.